Hey, we're back at Giga-Bites Cafe. Today we've decided to play one of the attacker-defender missions. So this is the Orbital Defense Laser mission designed for the attacker-defender scenario. It's a bit of a complex mission. So for starters, here's the defense laser. The defender gets 200 points that they get to start on the board near the laser as their initial defense. Everything else in their army stays in reserve. And the defender gets 1,999 points in reserve, plus 200 points in this little initial detachment. The attacker gets 1,500 points, so it's an asymmetric scenario with different points values. Now, the attacker's goal is to get infantry inside the laser. If the attacker becomes the occupier, then every turn they can use the laser to blow up 90 degrees of buildings on the board. So, whichever 90 degrees they pick. The attacker wins the mission if they can blow up every single building on the board. There's 15 of them. The defender wins the mission if there's at least one building left alive, and the mission is 8 turns, which is a little bit longer than a normal mission. We've never played this, so we're going to try it out for the first time and see how it goes. So after our experience trying the Bridgehead mission, which is another attacker-defender mission, we decided that these missions are better played if you design a list specifically for the mission. And that's a little bit different from the mentality with something like a tournament mission. But the reason we do that is because these missions are just so specific, and sometimes certain types of units are not really useful. So we both custom designed the list for this mission before we showed up. So here we go. Here's my initial detachment, 200 points. I have 3 Ares Walkers and 2 bases of Immortals. Then here's my main army. I have a command group with a Zeus with a level 5 commander, 2 Odins, 2 Enyos, 1 Hyperion, all in a Poseidon. And then I have 2 Janus Walkers inside a Triton with stealth missiles. I have a standard battle group with 2 Phobos Walkers inside a Neptune. I have another standard battle group with 2 Phobos Walkers inside a Neptune, and a support group of 2 Apollos, no transport. I have an infantry battle group with 2 bases of Immortals inside a Triton, no upgrades. And I have a support group with 2 Angelus Skimmers with Sirens inside a Neptune. I have a Hades and a Poseidon, and also in that heavy group I have 2 Tyrannus missile batteries inside a Neptune and an Athena.
Alright, so this is going to be my command group, which is going to consist of the Coyote, a pair of Jaguars, and a squad of Firstborns. This is going to be my standard, which is going to be the Tarantulas with the Dream Snare. Alright, and then I've got 2 infantry battle groups, each with 3 stands of Braves and associated havens. So as you can see, I loaded up on infantry.
He wants to control that laser.
Absolutely. And it might get a little confusing here, but all the guys with the red shoulder pads are Braves. I didn't have enough Braves, so these are Firstborns that are being proxied as Braves. And then, of course, the other set of Firstborns are the actual Firstborns. I only have 1 squad of them. And we'll see how it goes.
Alright, here's my initial deployment. I've got 2 bases of Immortals in a squad, garrisoned inside the laser, and 3 Ares Walkers. That's it. Alright, so I rolled my reserves, and you need a 6 on turn 1. The only unit, or squad, that I got a 6 for was my command squad with the 6 walkers. So they're on turn 1. Here they are, deployed down the street.
Alright, so I activated my command group, deployed the commander and his associated Jaguars, and I also brought in the Spirit, and because I was worried that on the next turn he was going to have AA here and was going to try and shoot it down, I went to the deck and wouldn't you know it, crashed and burned, so I have lost my Spirit.
Alright, I activated my infantry battle group and they got outside.
Alright, now I just activated one of my infantry battle groups and brought in these havens and assigned them to them.
Alright, I activated my armor battle group, these 3 Ares, and they shot at the laser and did 3 damage to it.
Alright, so here's the rest of my activations. I brought in my 2nd infantry battle group with this gate, deployed these 2 havens, then this one drove on, and then I brought in my armor unit over here, and deployed the tarantulas and the dream snare.
Okay, beginning of turn 2, I won the initiative roll-off. I rolled for my reserves, coming in a 4-up, and I got the Angelos, the Apollos, and the infantry squad, and the Hades. I also played, during the cleanup phase, I played an adaptive camouflage card on the Ares walkers that makes them slightly harder to hit. Alright, so I activated my command group, played experimental gyros to give them an extra 2 inches of movement, moved them down the street. They all shot the laser. The Enyos went crazy. They needed 4s for single damage and 6 for double damage. They got 2 6s and one 5, so they did 10 damage to it, and then the other guys pitched in some damage as well, so the laser is now taking 15 damage.
Alright, so what I did is I activated the command battle group and basically just trudged these walkers a little farther forward. Then I assigned one of the havens that I had available and deployed my firstborn. And just for clarity, we just indicated that the firstborns are inside the laser, and we just put them over there.
They're just barely able to squeeze through that gap and get within an inch for the center of their base.
Yeah.
I would have had to activate my infantry and move them a little bit forward to block him.
Yeah, and it brings up a couple of interesting rules questions, which we're going to have to post up in the forum. And then I just brought the Gaia forward, basically because its charged atmosphere is going to make all this area more difficult, or basically impossible, for his Athena to do an attack run down here. Because that's 76 points that are not doing anything.
Right. I activated my Ares, my armor battle group, and they shot the laser with their railguns and did 3 more damage.
Alright, so I activated my armor battle group. They moved out of the woods. Managed to destroy one of the Ares, damaged another one, and then with the laser pods, I managed to put some damage on the infantry that's out in the open.
So did 3 damage to each base.
Right. And I rolled up this gate as well, again, to create more charged atmosphere out there.
Alright, I picked my heavy battle group, I put my Poseidon on, deployed the Hades, and there it is. That's it.
Alright, so I activated one of my infantry battle groups and I assigned 3 havens to it. These 2 just moved up. This one moved up, deployed a standard Braves, and then for the first time in I think almost 2 years, I got a charged earth shot at that squad. Rolled 4 dice, did 1 hit, got 1 damage.
Yeah, I've never seen charged earth actually fired before, but this is it. This is the first time.
Yeah.
Alright, I brought on my infantry battle group. My 2 Angelos disembarked here, and they're kind of stuck behind those the command group there. There's no room. And then the infantry squad's over here.
Alright, so I activated my 2nd infantry battle group, assigned the haven gates to them, and moved them forward.
Alright, I activated this infantry group. They fired their sniper rifles at this tarantula and did no damage. Alright, we're at the start of turn 3, and Brian won the initiative roll-off, and all of my reserves came on, and I played a field repair card on the damaged Ares walker, so it is now repaired.
Okay, so I activated my command group, just moved these walkers forward. I assigned these 2 gates to it, and just basically shuffled around to create a larger area of charged atmosphere. And then the firstborns are part of that command group. They went ahead and activated the laser. I took out this corner of the buildings. We actually got out a protractor.
Because I'm a dork and I carry one with me.
Hey, whatever works. And I managed to destroy, with the falling buildings, I managed to destroy a couple of his walkers and one of his skimmers.
Yeah, it was 2 Odins, an Enyo, and an Angelos, and then the sirens inside it. Alright, I activated my Athena. It came on, shot a cruise missile with super cruise, so it needed a 3-up to hit. Needed to be within 12, which it just is, coming in at this angle with the front arc. Hit the building, did double damage to it, and then rolled a 3 on its D3, so it was a Demolisher 4 shot, did 8 damage, completely blew up the laser, and also blew up all the infantry inside it, and the Ares, and both the infantry bases, and one of the havens.
Right.
Oh, yes, and he fired reaction fire at me with 2 Jaguars and with a charged atmosphere from the Gaia, and managed to do 0 damage at all. I mean, this is basically the end of the mission. The laser's blown up, and there's no way that he's going to be able to blow up the rest of the buildings on the board. So yeah, I mean, I think we both agree on the design of this mission, but go ahead and tell me what you think.
Right, so the mission itself is fatally flawed because every army has the ability to destroy this laser in 4 turns. And you need 4 turns of shooting in order to achieve the goal of destroying all the buildings. Alright. I took an infantry-heavy list because that's what you need to get a hold of and maintain the laser. It might have helped slightly if I had taken some totem war spires. It would have granted a passive save, but even that, he was throwing out so much damage with all of his stuff, it wasn't going to make any difference.
I mean, yeah, I blew up the laser with my first activation on turn 3. And what we were saying is, so let's say the attackers, just everything goes perfectly for them. They get infantry on the board turn 1, they enter the laser turn 2, turn 3 they start blowing up the buildings, but that still needs 4 turns of blowing up the buildings to win the mission. So the earliest they're going to win the mission is turn 6, and it's an 8-turn mission, so there's some time. But I was just thinking when I was designing my list, I was like, all I need to do is to blow up the laser before turn 6. I'm just going to ignore the rest of his army, take a bunch of demolition weapons. I would have taken an even more extreme list had I owned more Enyos, but I only owned 2. So I only put 2 in there and took some other stuff. And it was no problem at all. I just blew the crap out of the laser, and that was it.
Yeah, and here's the reality check. You only need to do 5 points of damage per turn to destroy it by the end of that 4th turn.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think any army can do that easily.
And the PHR are a good demolition army, so, yeah, I mean, yeah, we're particularly good at blowing up buildings, but I could do this with any list, like Scourge easily, and then UCM and Shaltari probably could even do it pretty easily before turn 6.
Yeah. The only army that has a chance of possibly not having that happen is the Shaltari army just because of the totems, but no matter how many totems you cram into there, it's not going to stop all the shots.
Yeah.
Alright. Mathematically, it's just not going to happen.
Now that said, I think this could actually be a really fun mission if you just make the laser invulnerable and take that out of the equation, and then all of a sudden it becomes a really tense fight where people are pouring infantry into the laser. There's a huge tank battle going on outside, anti-air, the buildings are blowing up. I think it'd be really fun. But right now the laser is just too weak and too easy to kill. Yeah. So the defender is always going to win, assuming that they take a list that is even partially capable of blowing up buildings. So yeah, that's our recommendation. If you play this mission, play with an invulnerable laser, and I think you'll find that it's much more fun. We might try it again sometime with that rule. But I don't know, anything else to say about this? It's going to be a short bat rep.
The only other thing I can think of is instead of giving it just 20 damage points, maybe put it up to 40 or 50.
Yeah, that'd be pretty hard to kill, even with this list. But
something to think about.
All right, thanks for watching.